What's happening, guys? Well, we are back out on the Allegheny Loop portion of the Cross PA Adventure Trail. It's actually a separate like loop. I don't know if I mentioned that in the previous video. I jumped on at Marionville, just found a little back road, and found a nice little pull off there, and yeah, I mean, just out of the way. Nobody should mess with my truck or anything, but yeah, if you want to come up and do it, it seems like I'm 102 miles in now, and it's 4:45. I got on the road, like, I got on about 2-ish, something like that. So, I mean, I'm probably going to get done around 6:30, which for me is perfect. I woke up, had a nice leisurely morning, hung out with Miss Stacy and Hannah for a little bit, and got on up here. It's Monday, so everyone else is heading home, and I pretty much should have the place to myself, which is the way I like it. Haven't had much traffic, a couple cars here and there. Did find an older gentleman, probably in his 60s, on an Africa Twin DTC, and it was a silver one like mine, but I'm guessing it was probably a much newer one. But he still had like the stock tires that looked like it was pretty much brand new. And he didn't even know about turning the ABS off. He was just creeping down the road, and that's probably fine, but I gave him a heads up just to kind of warn him, because if you've ever ridden one of those big adventure bikes, if you leave the ABS on to the rear wheel when you're in the gravel, if you go to hit the rear brake a little bit harder than just like very lightly trying to slow down, the ABS will kick in and your rear tire will not stop. Like, you won't slow down. Oh yeah, big old potholes. So yeah, you just gotta be a little bit careful. Kind of feel like the dealership guys that sell you those bikes should warn you about that, because it's dangerous. Somebody could really get hurt. I've definitely forgotten many times and come into corners and been like, oh, front brake, front wheel, don't lose grip and fail me now, because if not, we're going off. We're going straight instead of turning, and there's a bunch of trees or a cliff right there. So yeah, it's one of those lessons you learn, and I hope you only have to learn once, but in my case it's a continuous thing. I just forget. Too excited about riding. So I have the rest of my Hatfield pass. My pass is good for the year, and I've really kind of been thinking about doing a fall trip down there on Xena, and trying to ride some more of the trails once the leaves fall, because I think once the leaves fall, you'll be able to see a lot more of the beauty out there. I mean, it's gorgeous, and I'm sure the trails with no leaves on them, or the trees with no leaves on them while you're on those trails, would open up the vistas quite a bit. And that's what I really like to see. You know, I really like the views, and just kind of gives you that spiritual goodness feel. Kind of like this. Even just cruising down a dirt road, 5th gear, 45. Feels good. my happy place. So I saw the other day that a gentleman had posted in the Everride Executive Producers group on Facebook, which is a group you get invited to if you're one of Tyler's producers, Patreon kind of people. And he said, I got my bike like 2 years ago, and he said for the last 2 years, every time I would come home from a ride, I would tell my wife, you know, how excited I was and how much I couldn't wait to go out and ride some more. And he said this year's been different. He said every time he goes out to ride, it's like hard for him to want to go out to ride, and when he comes back, he's just like not excited about it anymore. And I don't know, like my reply to him was, my problem is the getting ready to go ride. Like, I am alright, I gotta go put the trailer on the truck, I gotta load Xena up, I gotta find all my gear, get it all in the car, make sure the batteries are charged, make sure the cardo is charged, all that stuff just like kills my motivation. And yeah, I mean, it's pure unadulterated lazy, because I know once I get to where I'm going and I have Xena unloaded and I'm dressed and I click this bike into first gear, that I'm gonna be in my happy place, that I'm gonna be totally zen, you know. And it's just a weird feeling. What do you guys think? I ended up talking to the guy a little bit more and was like, hey man, if you're just not into it anymore, sell the bike. Just sell the bike. You're gonna know really quick whether it was a good decision or not. But the good thing is, you know, you've only had the bike for 2 years and it doesn't sound like you're super duper attached to it. You can always get another bike. And kind of what I hoped he took away from that in the end was, go find something you do enjoy. You know, if this just isn't cutting it anymore, you gotta have something fun in your life, man. Go find something fun and do it. That's why I wasn't getting down on the people that were, you know, poking fun and stuff when I was riding a quad. I enjoy it. I know Hermit just got one, 400EX. That's fifth gear again. Hermit got a 400EX. So, I mean, yeah, I don't get the whole you have to do one thing or the other. I mean, I don't understand it. The reason that I bought the quad is because when the season comes in and the season goes out up here, it's just mud hell, and I don't enjoy riding either of the bikes in it. It so happened that this year mud hell lasted a long time, and then Hatfield McCoy. So here we are. But I guess we don't need to rehash that whole thing. Looks like we're gonna do some pavement here, boys. That's the third time in a row that I've just looked for sixth gear. I haven't ridden you enough, Xena. I haven't ridden you enough. But oh, one thing I should mention is I did attend a webinar that was done by the Allegheny DNR about an ATV pilot program that they're doing, which is going to open up hundreds of miles of trails and forest roads as connectors. So it sounds like they're moving in the right direction. There was a moratorium in 2003. If you guys haven't seen this video, there's a moratorium on new trails in 2003, which I think is dumb. So they couldn't make any more trails. They lifted that last year. So now they've already started building more trails, which I think is great. So I'm trying to get involved. I think all of you guys that are in PA should get involved. Even you guys that are in Colorado that are still watching, or wherever you are, get involved. Start looking at the Facebook pages for the National Forest around you. Start looking at their websites. It can be tricky to kind of figure out how to get on the right mailing lists and stuff. But once you do, you need to stay involved and, you know, make sure that we are getting more trails opened up for everyone to enjoy. You got to put in a little bit of effort, and I try to. I don't have a whole lot of time, but what time I do have, I snuck that webinar in. I asked them, I said, they had it at like 1 p.m. on a Wednesday, and I was like, guys, no, I didn't actually say this to him. I couldn't talk. All I could do was type. But I was like, hey, could we have, is there a possibility that you could hold these after work hours, because attendance would be so much better? There's, you know, who can just take off in the middle of the day? Like, luckily for me, I'm an IT guy, so I'm sitting at a computer and all I have to do is join the webinar and listen to it while I'm working on other stuff. But I mean, just like basic things like that, where you're just like, hey, if you don't have these meetings in the middle of a work day, you know, you'd have more people here, get more opinions, you know, that kind of thing. But they answered a lot of questions for me about the reason the gates are closed and all that kind of stuff, and it wasn't all answers that I wanted to hear or anything like that. But getting it out there, saying it, having them hear it. You know, now they're like, oh, well, people are, you know, some guys complaining about the gates always being closed. Maybe, you never know, that might spark some debate in the back end on their side. You know, you never know. But just asking tons of questions like that, like, hey, why are OHM, which is off-highway motorcycles, what they call them here, not dual sports, but dirt bikes, why are OHM not treated the same as four-wheelers and side-by-sides? Why do four-wheelers and side-by-sides get preference and OHM are just like not allowed on a lot of the trail systems? Is a very good question. You know, there are several trail systems that I still want to hit. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit them this year, but maybe the beginning of next year, that I have to have the quad to ride. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to take Xena on them, which would, if you think about it, that's like the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, isn't that so stupid? Like, who thought of that? Why would you? What's the difference? You know what I mean? A dirt bike is gonna do less damage to a trail than a quad. Absolutely less damage than a side-by-side by a long shot. But like, who? Why? It makes zero sense to me. But anyway, I'll leave you guys with that one. Hopefully I'm going to be getting on to some more dirt here. And if we find anything cool, we'll start another video. Alright guys, I'll catch y'all later. Oh, we need to go this way. Peace.